Okay, I admit it, I cheat at video games. Everyone does it sometimes, alright? Don't judge me. Now before you will start bullying me for using aimbot or scripting on Xerath, I don't mean like that. I never have and never will cheat on the live service game. That's just kinda sad and pathetic. If you do that, I'm sure your parents are real proud of the person you've become. But on a good old fashioned single player game, sometimes we do a little bit of the forbidden gameplay. Even then it's debatable as to what's actually considered cheating, and some games go as far as encouraging this of cheat codes being a classic fun little way to mess around with a game's mechanics. But you're probably wondering, why would I openly make a YouTube video announcing to the world that I've cheated before? And this leads me onto a legit topic I've been thinking about recently. Is it okay to cheat on video games sometimes? There's something in particular that happened to me recently that really made me start thinking about this. So let me show you. Are any of you fans of A Hat in Time? You know, that colourful, fun little 3D platformer that's a love letter to games like Super Mario 64. The characters are goofy, the world is endearing, and everything just seems like a good time, right? And yeah, I'd say about 95% of the game is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my favourite games ever, so much so that I decided I really wanted to go for all the achievements. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Oh my poor child, do not be fooled. There is a section of this game locked away in a dark corner that no sane individual should ever be put through. If you've played A Hat in Time before, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about. Mustache Girl. I don't even know you, why are you following me? Rebel Squad, we are not a team. Wait, why are you on my ship, please? No, but seriously, I'm talking about the Death Wish DLC. I'm not here to say the base game is ridiculously easy because there are some levels that are definitely a challenge, but nothing outrageous. They're all extremely manageable, aside from one, but I'll get to you. So what did Giz for breakfast decide to do? Make all of them miserable. Literally all of them. The Death Wish DLC takes all the levels from the base game and adds a challenging twist to them. Thing is, it isn't just a slight difficulty spike. It's like they injected all of them with 500 grams of black tar heroin because holy shit, some of these levels are not fun. I know getting 100% in a game is supposed to be a challenge, but there's a line, and this jumps head first over that. It's not even like there aren't already some pretty challenging achievements to get. For example, One Punch requires you to beat any boss in the game with the One Hit Hero badge equipped, a badge that only leaves you on one singular HP at all times. No Time to Explain makes you go through the entire level of Train Rush without dying once or collecting any time bonuses, and for context, Train Rush is an insanely chaotic time trial crash course where you have to make it to the end before the bomb goes off. Secret Intruder requires insane stealth by going through the whole of the level Deadbird Studio without being spotted at all. And for the last example, Encore makes you beat the level The Big Parade without ever once falling to the crowd below, which trust me, with these goofballs following you around all the time, you will. A lot. Why do I have so many stalkers on this game? Is there no intergalactic child protection services? What's next? Am I gonna get scammed by a crypto shiller? Fuck. Every single one of these achievements are definitely slightly challenging, but are very achievable if you just put in the hours and attempts. They're rewarding to go for and quite enjoyable as a challenge. But no, clearly this wasn't enough, because there are two specific achievements in this game that require you to drag yourself through the depths of hell and back just to see that beautiful steam ribbon, and those two achievements in question are Punished Kid and I Refuse to Die. That's right, both Death Wish achievements that require you to get all 114 Death Wish stamps. So what is a Death Wish stamp and why are they so hard to collect? Simply put, these stamps are what you get for beating each Death Wish level, with each having one main stamp for completing the level, and two extra bonus stamps with added requirements to get them. And these right here, just going for one bonus stamp will age you about 50 years. These are so stressful it's not even funny. Honestly, let me just show you some of these. Okay, so I have to start with this level right here called Vault Codes in the Wind. It was the first one that made me realize, oh shit, I'm in danger. So the normal level for this is just freely roaming around Mafia Town, collecting the vault codes, opening the locked vaults, and having a pretty chill time pushing poor unsuspecting locals to the death. The challenge version? Basically the same thing but on a time limit. Sounds alright, but then you notice, only 30 seconds? How am I supposed to get around the entire map in 30 seconds to collect all of these? Especially when some of these are flying? There is the time stop hat, which does as the name suggests, slows time, but whoa, none of that. If you want to get all the bonus stamps, you have to do a run where you can't use that at all, and then a whole other run where you somehow find enough time to beat 10 of the enemies in this zone. Luckily you don't have to do both bonuses in one run because I promise you, you are not doing both at once. I'll own up to it here, I just straight up used a community workshop hat on Steam called the Yarn Hat that lets me fly. I know it's cheating, the item description even says that, but genuinely I promise you, it was still borderline impossible to do this without the time hat, even with the ability to fly around the map. It's so unbelievably tight of a time limit that it's really pushing just how much you can get done. There's absolutely no way in hell I was ever getting this legit because I barely did it with the cheat hat. And sure, whatever, comically large skill issue, but I assure you, try it for yourself and you'll come out a changed person. And I haven't even talked about the other challenge. Trying to fit in time to beat 10 whole enemies when getting the tickets alone is hard enough. It's just, ugh. Okay, editing Craig here. I'll admit that whilst getting footage for this level, I did actually end up doing it legit, so it's definitely more doable than I just gave it credit for. But my point still stands that it's just miserable for people without the hours that I have in the game. I would never judge anyone for feeling like they needed the exploits to help finish this. Anyway, on to the next level. That's not even the hardest mission here, not even close to it. There's also the Mustache Gauntlet, which is difficult for the complete opposite reason. Sick of ridiculously short time trial levels? Don't worry, we have you covered. How about an extremely prolonged level where you fight through basically every base level enemy in the game, 99 of them? To its credit, the level itself is challenging, but fine. It's long, the platforming can be very difficult, and the checkpoints are unforgiving, but you can do it through grinding it out. But once again, the bonuses, oh, the bonuses. Don't use any projectile weapons? Honestly, that's pretty easy. I highly doubt you'd use the brewing hat much here, so you can do it in one run. But don't get burned. The entire place is in a lava pit. You fall off once and you have to restart at the last checkpoint to get another shot. And like I said earlier, they can be quite far back, so good luck going through all of that again. The absolute worst part is though, there are both flamethrowers and enemies on fire riddled throughout the level. Have fun trying to dodge enemies with a burning Beyblade of Death putting you on tonight's menu, and these little rats just make me wanna fuck.
Do you honestly think you're fucking funny?
Once again, flying here will not help you out whatsoever. It won't save you time, and it sure as hell won't save you from these little shits setting your ass on fire. And sure, you can fly over the flamethrowers, but fat load of good that does when half the enemies are within that, and you have to kill every single one of them for the main objective. My least favorite thing about this level is you either have to do all of them in one, which is such a horrible experience, or you can do them separately. But with how long the level takes, you'll be married, have 5 kids, and have retired to the south of France before even completing just a second run. It's time for another admission here. Yeah, I just went straight back to the community workshop and downloaded the Aura badge, which meant I took no damage and was immune to things like fire. Listen, judge me all you want, I do not care. I completed this entire level the first time without it, and got right to the end on the second run without being burned, just to fall to one of these twats. No amount of tools will speed up the process of running through this level multiple times. It's still a horrible time, even with cheats. That's nowhere near the worst combat level either, with multiple levels putting you in a gauntlet against every major boss in the game, with every single one of them being so much more chaotic than the original boss fights. This one here even requires you to wear that dreaded one-hit hero badge again for all 4 back-to-back boss fights. And maybe even worse is you have to hit every single hit you can possibly do. Yes, you can't miss a single attack opportunity, and you honestly won't know if you have until all 4 bosses are defeated. Sure, the whole turning blue prompt helps to know, but there are still niche little attacks. Like when the Snatcher throws out a clone, and you have to know how to tell which one is real to land the attack, because yes, if you can attack, it counts as an opportunity, and if you mess up one of these, it's back to boss 1, and he is boss 3, so you bet your ass I'm using the Aura badge on this, because yet again that still doesn't help me with getting the hit every attack possible bonus. And whilst we're on the topic of missions that the Yarn Hat and the Aura badge don't help with, let's talk about the many time trials of Deathwish, your biggest enemy in this DLC. I know the time hat exists, but that can only help a certain amount. Like in the Killing 2 Birds level, you have to beat both bosses at the same time, all before the time restriction they give you. And the next requirement, only attack one director until the very end? What does that even mean? Only attack one until the bomb goes off and I lose the level? Only attack one and when I beat it I win? No, only attack one until you defeat it, then you can start attacking the other. The wording is so misleading here. Until the very end sounds like something someone would say when they're about to charge in for their final stand. Trying to only attack one when they're both constantly dashing at you together is not an easy task, and again, it isn't something the Yarn Hat or Aura badge will help with in the slightest. The other missions aside, it's time for what might be the worst of them all. Oh yeah, I'm about to talk about that level, Cruising for a Bruising. So you know how I said all the base levels of all the other Deathwish challenges were perfect perfectly fine aside from one singular level. Yeah, it's this piece of shit. The Arctic Cruise was a new zone added in the Seal the Deal DLC, which ironically enough was the exact same DLC that introduced Death Wish. Overall, it's a very fun new boat crew zone, but oh boy is there a dark side to this voyage. And no, it's not when the ship does its best Titanic impression and crashes into an iceberg. What's worse than a near-death experience that could have caused a catastrophic amount of deaths? Chores. Where do I even start with ship shape? This is one of the most stressful levels I've ever played in anything, and it's by far the hardest level in the base game. This lazy ass captain gets you to go around and do an ungodly amount of jobs for literally everyone. How am I, a child, the only person you have on this boat to help you out? Child labor. Unpaid child labor. Is everyone a criminal in this game? Look how many seals you have on your boat. What is the purpose of your existence, you oversized sperm? Needless to say, it's not easy, but you can certainly do it. But for some god forbidden reason, they decided that not only was this not hard enough, but in the same DLC pack, they were going to add an even harder version of this level. Cruising for a bruising? Yeah, you will be if you keep ordering me around like that, you chubby turd. I mean, just look at him. Does that look like a road legal man? Who gave him a whole ship with hundreds of lives on it? He can't even take his own rubbish to the bin. How is he supposed to operate a whole ship? Because the original level wasn't hard enough, in order to complete the bonus tasks, you now have to fulfill a whole 40 tasks without missing a single one of them. And because nobody on this damn ship has basic brain functionality, you will be ran dry across this entire ship, helping every last person you come across. I swear to God, if I have to pick up one more of these daft little twats, I'll toss them off the fucking ship. This is a mission I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemies, and there's nothing you can do to complete it except just completing it. Flying helps, but at the end of the day, you still have to make it across the entire map, and sometimes it doesn't even let you use the shortcuts the yarn hat offers, so that's just great. Plus, if you use this hat, you're actively choosing not to use the time stop hat, which, as big of a help as it is, still won't help much when you're struggling to get from the depths of the washing room all the way up to the pool multiple layers up. You have to pick your poison. Do you go with the yarn hat to make traversing a lot easier but be pressed for time, or do you go with the time stop hat and give yourself a few valuable seconds every now and then, but at the cost of having to manually make your way to places so far out of reach that those few extra seconds won't be enough and you'll still miss a task? And it goes without saying, but the aura badge is literally useless here. It's not a fight, there are no enemies. All you have are these tables and metal things flying around at you. How can any of you sit there and eat in peace when there are tables flying everywhere? What is wrong with you? And ultimately, this leads me onto the question I was asking earlier. Is it okay to cheat on games sometimes? Because of course I powered through and I did end up getting the final 2 achievements to 100% my game, but I feel like there's an asterisk on it. On one hand, sure, I used some tools that were kinda cheating, but they didn't even help me on half of them, and the ones they did help with, some of the bonus missions they had rendered them completely useless. However, on the other hand, can I really say I completed the game 100% if I didn't do it the way the devs intended? Can I really be proud of getting those last 2 achievements if I couldn't even do it legit? Like I said earlier, A Hat in Time is one of, if not my favorite game ever. Naturally, I wanted to 100% it to show the game how much I loved it. I got all the other 44 achievements perfectly legitimately through playing the game, and it was a blast. That's 95% of the game done already. I'd completed basically the whole thing aside from Death Wish. So why should 2 measly achievements block me from having that 100% when they're clearly just meant to be hard for the sake of being hard? It's cool the challenges are there as an option for those who want it, but why should it be mandatory to play all of them to perfection when it's so inaccessible for most casual players, and even experienced players like myself? I have 70 plus hours in the game, and I couldn't even fathom doing some of these legitimately. All of this just for 2 achievements when I've already beaten basically the entire game, aside from this purely optional subsection. But then on the other side, surely to 100% a game you should have to beat all of it, every section included, which would include Seal the Deal, right? You can't just include that for the sake of my own convenience. So is my 100% achievement completely fraudulent? I don't know, to be honest, and I keep thinking about it because it does bother me that I had to basically cheat to 100% my favorite game. But at the same time, I don't know if it is cheating because it's on the community workshop, so I'm just using the tools that are available to me through legit means. Should I go back and beat it all legit, or was what I did legit enough? This is why I wanted to make a video on the topic, because I'm curious. Have you ever had an experience like this, where a certain section of a game you adore was so hard you had to pull a few strings to get past it? I'd absolutely love to know. I really want to hear other perspectives on it, so please do leave a comment below and share your experiences. And that's about it from me. Hopefully you don't judge me too hard for cheating just a teeny tiny bit. If you made it all the way through my salty ramblings, I really appreciate you. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed whilst you're here. Anyway, I've gone on for long enough. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.